Hey everyone, welcome back. It is the night of Monday, November 2nd, which is the night before the election. And yeah, it's kind of exciting, but also a little bit scary because no one knows what's going to happen. And this is one of those situations where a lot of people like to make predictions and speculate and say, oh, if Trump wins, the market's going to do this. If Biden wins, the market's going to do that. Will there be a contested election? How is this going to affect the stimulus? There's a lot of things going on right now. And this channel is about the stock market, so often we're thinking about how things in the world affect the prices of assets. So we're at this moment where things could break, either way, right? People have been watching, if you look year to date, right, the market started the year at about, the SPY was at about 325. In June, it rallied, this huge rally, all the way back up to around 323, 325-ish, right? We went all the way up and then back down to about 323, right? And then rallied again, and now we're all the way back down about 325. So there's this we're just flat for the year, right? And the market's trying to, at a point of indecision right now, leading right into the election. Is it going to finally break out and go to new all-time highs? Or are we going to break down below this S&P at 3230 or so and tank and form a double top? Who knows? So regardless of the outcome, it's good to be able to participate on the short side of the market in the event that we enter a sustained downtrend. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video, is how to short stocks using the Alpaca API, and we're going to modify our opening range breakout strategy or expand upon it so that we can short stocks that break down below the opening range. Before we get started, as always, I wanted to thank the people who recently donated, which include James. He says, appreciate effort to your followers. Thank you, James. He's left some great feedback and comments and reported some things in the recent videos. So I appreciate that James has been following along and giving some feedback on the tutorial. So thank you very much, James. And Jitinder here is in India and is not using Alpaca, but is still following along with the tutorial, which is kind of cool. And Jitinder is using the Kite Connect API, which functions similar. And so I had never heard of this, so I think this might be worth checking out. So I'll see if this is something we should be looking at and evaluate this whenever I get to it. But yeah, this could be a cool option. The website looks kind of cool. So Alpaca right now, it's only for US residents, I believe, but it sounds like it's an invite-only beta live trading for non-US residents. So yeah, that'll be good. Apparently that'll finally happen. So Alpaca will become an option for more people, but it's good to hear about other options people are using. And I've also been meaning to do a series on interactive brokers. So I hope to get around to that. So thank you very much, Jitinder. And Everin here said, Everin's a beginner at Python coding and wants to build a bot that's triggered with TradingView custom signal on Binance future options. Where can I start? Yeah, I don't know. I have no experience with Binance futures options, or I don't really know how to trade that. But I have made videos on TradingView, and if you have a PineScript strategy, I've made videos on some of those popular videos are actually on strategy alerts and webhooks. So yeah, on the channel, there's a TradingView strategy alert video that I created where I have it execute a webhook, which hits a Flask app that's deployed on Heroku and places trades using the Binance API to buy Dogecoin, which sounds kind of silly. It is very silly, but it was just a proof of concept and having fun with it. So you should be able to do something equivalent, I would assume, if the Binance futures options are exposed in an API. But so thank you, Everin, for the contribution. So let's go ahead and get started with coding the opening range breakdown. The first thing I want to highlight, if you watched the last video until the end, I planned to originally do the short side at the end of that video, but you'll notice I said that I ran into a bug and it threw off the entire trading script. And what was that bug? This weekend, there was this fallback that you set your clock time back, right? And so that hour of daylight savings time actually threw off this entire script. And so let me show you what I mean by that. if you didn't watch the other video, you notice we were measuring the opening range, and so we had this New York time, which was 9:30 a.m., and we had this time zone offset. So this is an offset from UTC, and so these timestamps come back from Alpaca, right? And then we're looking at this data frame, and then you'll notice after this time switch occurred, this no longer said 9:30 minus 4. It now says 9:30 minus 5, and so that whole thing threw off the script. And then I had this trade log running on this morning, November 2nd, and you'll see I was printing out each minute what the timestamp was, and then at 6:30, which is when the market opens where I'm at on the West Coast, you'll see the market opened, and then at 1 minute after the market opened, all of a sudden I enter a short trade into VMware, right? And then here's VMware for today. And then like 1 minute after the market opened, I went short. But that was not intentional. With the opening range breakout, we're looking at the first 15 minutes or the first 30 minutes or the first hour first, and then going short if it breaks below that range. But this placed a trade right at the beginning. And that's because this minus 5 hours was thrown off. So that threw off our calculations of the of this mask here, this after opening range mask, right? And so a trade executed because it thought it was after the opening range, after the first minute. So how do we fix that? So I looked it up as a reminder. I don't always remember these time zone issues because you don't face them until they become a problem, and then you have to revisit them. And so here's a GitHub example, and we can take this and I'll link it in the comments below. So I made a new script, timezone.py, right? And I just pasted that in there. And so what this person has made is a function called isDST, so is daylight savings time, okay? And they imported PyTZ. I don't think that's included, so if you don't have it, you'll want to pip install PyTZ. Okay, and then this function just says, is it daylight savings time or not? And then so it gets the date time of the current year, and then it passes in a time zone, US Eastern, which is the same one we're using for Alpaca. And then it looks at what the time was on January 1st, and then it also looks at the present and checks their UTC offsets and whether they're equal or not. And so it returns true if daylight savings time is in effect, and false if it is not in effect. And so I'll just run this, right? And then if I call the function, so let's say I call the function isDST, and I'll just print my call to the function, you'll see that it correctly returns true, that it is daylight savings time. And so what I'll do is keep this function here, and I'll import it into my script. Okay, and so in my opening range breakout strategy here, where we have this -4 here coded in, what we'll do at the top here is we'll from time zone import isDST, and then we'll have access to that function. Okay, and then we'll do if, so where we get the start minute bar and end minute bar, we'll go if isDST, then we'll do one thing, otherwise we'll do what we had. And so we can just do it like this. That's one way to do it. So we'll just do -5 when it is daylight savings time, which it is right now. Otherwise, the offset is -4. Okay, and that will fix the issue. And I know this isn't sexy. No one tunes into this channel to talk about daylight savings time, but this is a real issue that you have to face, these little real world things that come up, like the Y2K bug and leap years and daylight savings time and text being localized and things like that. These are little things you have to deal with all the time. And it actually did affect my trading bot this morning, Monday morning. So this is something you got to deal with. So that's in there now. And then you'll also remember the other fix we made to the opening range breakout was putting status equals all and after equals current date to make sure we get the correct orders. And then one more fix I made is when we do existing order symbols, We also need to check if, so this all, stats equal all, will return orders that are canceled as well. And so what I did here is for existing order symbols, I built this list of order symbols using a list comprehension here. And then we're only including the symbol if the order status is not canceled, okay? And so this was one modification I made to the list that we build to check if there's existing orders for the stock. So that's the last thing to note on little bugs that I found with this script. And then over time, once we get through all this and we verify everything, then I will post code to GitHub with the final results. Okay, on to a new script to short stocks. So we have this opening range breakout script. We could refactor this. Most of the code would actually be the same for the opening range breakdown, which will short stocks when it closes below the opening range. But I'm going to be lazy right now. I don't feel like refactoring this in the way I would like right now. So I am going to copy paste this. This is not good practice, but I'll do a video on refactoring this stuff later, but I just want to get through this tonight. So we're just going to call it opening range breakdown.py, and I'm going to put this in here. Okay, so you should have a copy of the script called opening range breakdown.py. Okay, and so with opening range breakdown, we're going to find some stocks that we're biased on the short side towards. And so what we can do is go back to our UI, and let's see if I still have it running. I do not. So we'll get our web server running. So I'll run the web server here. So I always have to remind myself what the command was. Uvicorn main app reload, and we run that, and then we'll get our web server running, and we have these filters for new closing highs and new closing lows. And if you remember last time, as a simple way to just pick some stocks, we just looked at the new closing lows list, and I've already rerun the populate prices for the current date. So I have prices up until November 2nd. So rerun that if you haven't. And then also we had some stocks in our stock strategy table. If you went through the opening range breakout, right? And so we're going to delete those. So we're going to delete from stock strategy. And I just want to clear that out so that we don't retrade any of the same stocks, because we haven't built a UI to manage the stocks and delete stocks in the stock strategy table yet. So I'm deleting that. I'm going to close the database, and I'm going to save that. And so we should have an empty stock strategy table, and we should be able to start fresh. So on the new closing lows list here, we're just going to find some stocks that we're interested in shorting, and we're just, speculating here. We can look at, a longer term chart or whatever we want to look at. I'm just going to start with the new closing lows list. I'm not going to spend that much time on this. We're just going to pick some stocks to short and see if anything sticks out at us. AMC Entertainment. Sure, let's pick on the movie theaters again. You see they've went pretty much straight down the last couple months. So yeah, let's see if we can. This is already really, the AMC is already really low, but let's just keep following the trend. You see there's some vicious rallies that happen real quick with stocks like this, but yeah, let's try to just keep shorting AMC. With the COVID wave, no one's going to the theater, right? So that makes sense to us. So I'm going to say opening range breakdown, and we have this apply strategy button, and you see now it's in our list because we've already programmed this part to put it in our stock strategy table. Okay. Then I'll go back. I'm just going to hit the back button. Actually, I'm going to open each one in a new tab. So let's just find like 5 of these to short. Let's go, sure, Blue Apron seems all right. Yeah, there's a lot of stocks on this list. What else sounds good? How about, yeah, Nokia, right? Haven't bought anything from Nokia in a while. Yeah, this continues to suck, so let's go ahead and pick on Nokia some more. So opening range breakdown, we got Nokia, AMC, Blue Apron. Let's see. The other thing we might want to do is filter on volume. Since a lot of these stocks are probably thinly traded, it'd be better to probably trade like a large cap stock. But yeah, let's just, I think we should observe the results of what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and select Blue Apron on the list. So I'll put that there. And yeah, let's try VMware again. I did that this morning. You see, it's been doing really poorly the last few weeks for whatever reason, and it was a good short today. And let's just do it again today or tomorrow. And yeah, let's get Electronic Arts. That one doesn't quite fit our thesis, but yeah, it looks pretty shitty. So let's go ahead and do Electronic Arts. So we'll do that as well. So 5 stocks to short with our opening range breakdown strategy that we have not yet written. And let's go ahead and add 5 longs as well. So we'll just be even 5 long, 5 short and see how it goes. So let's go through this list of new closing highs. And you got the Build-A-Bear workshop here. That one's pretty crazy. And I actually selected that one this morning as well, but unfortunately we didn't get to trade it. I thought it was kind of funny. But the Build-A-Bear, yeah, it was good today too. But for whatever reason, this Build-A-Bear workshop is going off. So yeah, let's do this again. I don't think this one has a lot of volume, but we're gonna do it anyway and see how it goes. We probably won't get a fill. How about let's look at these weed stocks, Canopy Growth. How's that going? Yeah, let's give that a whirl. Maybe that's a bottom there. So yeah, let's do Canopy Growth stock. Comerica. Should we do a bank? Let's try it. So we'll do Comerica Bank, and then let's do like a silver or gold stock. That sounds good. Gatos Silver. There's not much history there. Let's do IQ. It's like our Netflix of China, I believe is what that is, right? And so yeah, let's give that a whirl. Do that, and then we'll also do this NIO. I've been hearing a lot lately about. That one's been hot. Yeah, look at that, it's going parabolic. So let's see if we can catch a little bit of that one ourselves. So let's do NIO. All right, so 5 longs, 5 shorts. We didn't really use the most scientific method here. We just kind of picked some, and then we're going to see what happens if we go long 5 of them on the opening range breakout and go short 5 on a breakdown. So let's go ahead and write the script to trade the opening range breakdown. And so we have this copy of the opening range breakout script, and this is an opening range breakdown now. And let's just modify this to make it support shorting stocks. So we already import all the date time stuff that we need, time zones, all that. We connect to the database, and then we need to find the stocks that we're interested in shorting. So we're going to select from strategy where name equals, instead of breakout, we're going to get the ID of the opening range breakdown strategy, and then we're going to find stocks that reference that strategy ID. That's already written. We got our list of symbols. We're checking daylight savings already, so we're good. And then we're listing all our orders and checking if any of them are canceled so that we don't repeat the same order. And we've already covered all of that stuff. And then now we're looping through our list of symbols, and we have our minute bars. So now we're to the part where we get the opening range bars. So on the other script, we're creating a variable called opening range breakout, but we're going to call this one after opening range breakdown. And then we're going to check if the any bars that are after the opening range, if the close, and this time we're going to say if the close is less than the opening range low, right? Yeah, so we're checking if the close of a bar after the opening range is below the opening range low. In that case, we're going to want to enter a short, and we're going to set a stop loss that's equivalent to the opening range. And then we're going to also take profit that's equal to the opening range. Okay, and so I have this commented out, and I'm going to put it back now. So let's put all this stuff back. Okay, and then I'm going to say if after opening range breakout, and it's not called breakout anymore, so I get it highlighted there. So it's if the after opening range breakdown. So if we find any, if that data frame is not empty, then we're going to get the limit price, which is going to be equal to after opening range breakdown. So whatever candle we find here, the breakdown candle, we're going to get the close, of that candle. And then that means we're going to place an order. And so we have our messages that we're sending as SMS or email. So if we're placing a trade, we're writing a message here, and we're going to say selling short symbol at limit price closed. And then we're going to say close below, opening range low. And then after opening range breakdown, so we're printing the bar where it occurred. So we're just logging data to our SMS, and also logging by printing, we're going to log it to our trade log, which will be just a file, text file on our file system. And so we're going to log the same message. So I'm going to take this whole message and just say message equals that. And I'm going to say message.append message, and I'm going to also print the message. So it's going to go both to the console. We're going to print to the console, but also add it to this list of messages that we're going to send an SMS. Okay. And then we're going to be ready to submit our order using Alpaca API. And so for the breakout, we're on the buy side, right? But if we're selling short, we're going to be on side sell. So we're going to sell 100 shares, for instance. So we're just going to leave it at 100. For simplicity, technically you can take your account balance and then divide it by, the share price and calculate a certain number of shares that you want to sell short. But we're just going to do 100 just to try this out. So we're going to sell short 100 shares. So bracket order, we have our limit price already because that's the close of the breakdown candle, right? And then where are we going to take profit on a short? So when we're selling short, we're saying it's going to go down, right? So we're going to say the limit price minus the opening range will be where we take our profit. So the price will go down by the amount equal to the opening range. So we'll take our profit. But if the stock starts popping up, right, squeezing upwards, then we're going to want to take our stop. So our stop price will be the limit price plus the opening range, okay? And then I have this try catch around it just in case there's any connectivity problems or any other exceptions here that occur. That makes sure our program doesn't just stop and blow up. We want the program to keep going. So we catch the exception and just print, couldn't submit order, and we'll print the exception that occurred. So if we lose connection or there's something wrong with processing this order, then it will just print a message and keep going, okay? And then at the very end here, let's make sure we have our notifications. So I'll put that back into play, and let me go back to my other terminal. And then let's see if we can run the script, and let's see if I get notifications or if anything happens. So let's see what happened, what would have happened if we ran this program today. And let's just test this out. So I'm going to run this opening range breakdown, and let's see what would have went down. So there you go. It looks like it's doing stuff. So selling short AMC at 220, close below 222, right? And it says could not submit order asset. So this exception did trigger. So there was something wrong. And it says could not submit order, and it tells me why, and then it keeps going. So what you see here, it says AMC cannot be sold short. So there's actually stocks that we cannot sell short, and they're not shortable. And if you'll remember the Alpaca list assets, the API response actually had a field called shortable that we didn't use. And so if we're going to start shorting stocks, we need to check that we can actually short them first. And so we should actually store that. And so to do that, our populate stocks script here, you see it actually calls api.list_assets, right? And so we insert, but we don't have a field in our stock table called shortable. So in our create_db.py, we need another field. And that field is shortable. And then this is going to be of type Boolean. And yeah, we can put not null. So a stock is either shortable, which is true, or false. And I think in SQLite it's 1 or 0. So they use 1 or 0 to be true or false. So we need that shortable field. And so, yeah, basically we'll have to repopulate our stock table or just remove AMC from our list. All right, so we have a shortable field there. And you don't have to do all this right now. You can just pick stocks that are shortable. But I'm going to go ahead and start adding this stuff because we're going to need it later. So we're going to add this shortable field to create DB. And then when we drop the database, we're going to drop those tables and recreate it, or we can do an alter table statement. And also I didn't add this drop stock strategy and drop strategy, so we're going to add those as well. That way we can delete our entire database, or delete all the tables and recreate them, and then repopulate everything. So it's nice to be able to cleanly do that over and over again. So I want to keep that up to date while we're at it. And then when we populate our stocks, now that we have this shortable field, and we're looping through all these assets, we would just need to add, when we're inserting, we're going to add the column shortable. We're going to add another question mark here. And then we're going to have, these are the assets from Alpaca, and we just add asset.shortable. And then once we run all those scripts, if we dropped our database, recreated, repopulated everything, then we'd have this shortable field for every stock. And then from our web UI, we can display whether it's shortable or not. We can validate whether it's shortable and not allow someone to add this stock to their list if it's not shortable. Okay. So that's another thing to consider when we're creating a strategy, is whether to validate and allow certain stocks to appear in that list if we can't actually short them. Okay, so that's good. So let's go back to the breakdown strategy, and I'll remove AMC from the list, and I'll pick another stock by the time the morning rolls around. Okay, and so we have Nokia, and it looks like that ran. Blue Apron, that one ran fine. Oh, no, Blue Apron cannot be sold short either. So that's another one. And then EA we can sell short. And so we'll just need to pick some new stocks for that. So I'll pick a couple new stocks there. So I'm back in the paper trading account. So let's see if it actually entered orders for the stocks that were shortable. So we're in here, see our Dolby trade. We made some money, and Build-A-Bear Workshop, so that did nicely today. So those are some trades that I made outside of this short strategy. These were some longs. So we have Electronic Arts, so limit sell 119.08, and then the stop buy to cover is above that at 120.92. So $1 something above, it's like $1.84, and then $1 something below, right? So that looks pretty good. VMware, limit sell, stop buy, limit buy, all right, and then Nokia. So those went through fine. So that looks pretty good. So now I just need to replace that with some different stocks, and we should be ready to go. Oh yeah, let's see if I got any notifications. Oh, there you go. So I got the notifications here so I'm not sure if you can see that on my busted phone, but got some trade notifications. So you have see VMware and EA there. I don't know if that's visible on my webcam. So the notifications worked. So yeah, I think we're good to go for the morning. So I'll just leave my laptop on in the corner of my house and let it trade some stocks and wake up and see what happened. And I'll report back to you with the results, and we'll see if anything else goes wrong and fix it as it happens. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.